Hi, welcome back everyone. So today we're going to do a deep dive into one of the most chilling locations in the Harry Potter universe, Azkaban Prison. Known for its grim history and association with the fearsome Dementors, Azkaban has played a pivotal role in shaping the magical world's approach to justice and punishment. In this video, we'll explore the dark origins of the prison, the terrifying creatures that guard it, and the significant events that transpired throughout the series, from the rise of dark wizards to the impact of the Dementors on those who have been imprisoned. Azkaban is more than just a place, it's a symbol of fear, control, and suffering. Let's unravel the mystery behind this haunting institution and its role in the Harry Potter series. Azkaban has existed since the 15th century, but it wasn't always a prison. The island in the North Sea where the original fortress was built was never found on any map, either Muggle or magical, and it's believed to have been created or expanded through magical means. The fortress was initially the home of a little-known sorcerer named Ygritte, who was extremely powerful, though his nationality remains unknown. It's believed that he might have been insane, practiced the darkest of dark arts. Living alone in the middle of the ocean, he lured Muggle sailors to the island, tortured and killed them for his own twisted pleasure. It wasn't until his death, when the concealment charm he had placed faded, that the Ministry of Magic realized the island and the fortress existed. Those who went to investigate refused to speak of what they found inside, though the least terrifying discovery was the fortress was overrun by Dementors. When the International Statute of Secrecy was implemented, the Ministry realized that smaller wizarding prisons scattered throughout the country posed a security risk, especially as prisoners often managed to escape, causing chaos in the process. The Ministry preferred a purpose-built, remote prison on an isolated island, and plans were underway when Demetrius Rowell became Minister for Magic. Rowell, an authoritarian with a strong anti-Muggle stance, gained power by capitalizing on the anger many wizards felt over being forced into hiding. Rowell abruptly cancelled plans for the new prison and insisted on using Azkaban. He saw the Dementors as an asset, believing that they could serve as guards and save the Ministry resources. Despite opposition from experts, Rowell pressed ahead with his plans, and soon a steady flow of prisoners were sent to Azkaban. None of them ever emerged. Those who weren't already insane and dangerous quickly became so due to the overwhelming despair and the Dementor's presence. Aldrich Diggory took office as Minister for Magic. The prison had already been in operation for 15 years without any breakouts or security breaches. However, when Diggory visited the prison, he was horrified by the conditions. The prisoners had mostly gone mad, and a graveyard had been set up to bury those who died from despair. In response, Diggory formed a committee to explore alternatives to Azkaban, especially regarding the removal of the Dementors. Experts explained that the only reason the Dementors stayed on the island was the constant supply of souls to feed on, and that if they were deprived of prisoners, they might leave the island. Unfortunately, the ministry still turned a blind eye to the inhumane conditions, allowing the prison to grow and expand, rarely visiting due to the horrible effects of entering a building filled with Dementors. Most officials justified their inaction by pointing out that the prison had an impeccable security record. Dementors are dark, terrifying creatures in the Harry Potter universe, often described as hooded, cloaked figures with skeletal hands and faces hidden in the shadow. They feed off despair, fear, and sorrow, causing extreme emotional distress in those nearby. Their presence invokes a deep sense of hopelessness, and prolonged exposure can lead to insanity or even death. The most infamous of their abilities is the Dementor's Kiss, which involves sucking the soul from a person, leaving them a soulless shell. Historically, Dementors were used by the Ministry of Magic as guards for Azkaban, where they maintained control over the prisoners by draining them of all hope and will. While they were originally seen as a practical solution, this decision was always controversial due to the inhumane suffering that they caused. Sirius Black is one of the few to ever escape from Azkaban. Unlike most prisoners, who were broken by the Dementor's tormenting presence, Sirius' escape was fueled by his determination and unwavering belief in his innocence. His daring escape shocked the wizarding community and set the stage for his eventual revelation as a true hero in the battle against the dark forces. The prison's vulnerabilities became apparent in the following years when two large scale breakouts occurred, both involving Death Eaters. By this time, the Dementors had allied with Lord Voldemort, who offered them freedom and influence that they had never known. The Dementors' alliance with Lord Voldemort can be understood as a strategic and opportunistic choice based on their nature and motivations. Dementors are drawn to despair, fear, and suffering, and they thrive in environments where these emotions are prevalent. Under Lord Voldemort's rule, they found an ideal situation where they could feed on the terror and hopelessness that permeated the wizarding world during his reign of terror. Voldemort's rise to power, marked by violence, fear, and the subjugation of others, provided the perfect environment for the Dementors to flourish. Voldemort offered the Dementors something that they had long been denied: freedom. While they had previously been confined to Azkaban, feeding on the misery of prisoners, Voldemort promised them greater scope and the possibility of moving beyond the prison. By aligning with him, they were granted more autonomy and power, which was highly appealing to the creatures whose very existence is driven by the suffering of others. Albus Dumbledore, who had long opposed the use of Dementors as guards, not only because of cruelty towards prisoners, but also because he feared the creatures' shifting loyalties, and he was proven right. Their willingness to join Voldemort may also be linked to the fact that Dementors are largely indifferent to concepts of morality or justice. They're purely driven by their instincts to feed on despair. Voldemort's brutal and unforgiving ideologies likely aligned with their own tendencies to spread darkness and despair, making that alliance a natural fit from their perspective. After the fall of Voldemort, significant changes were likely made to Azkaban as part of the broader reform efforts across the wizarding community. For centuries, Azkaban had been a prison ruled by fear, with the Dementors serving as its horrific and soul-sucking guards. However, under the leadership of Kingsley Shacklebolt, the Ministry of Magic took decisive steps to remove the Dementors from the island and replacing them with Aurors and advanced magical wards to maintain security. This removal fundamentally altered the nature of the prison. No longer would prisoners be subjugated to the constant psychological torment of the Dementors, and the focus shifted from terror to actual security measures. This new approach allowed Azkaban to operate more as a conventional prison, one where its inmates could be monitored and controlled without resorting to fear induced oppression. With this shift came the possibility for reform and rehabilitation. Many of the criminals incarcerated during the height of Voldemort's influence, some of who were victims of coercion or manipulation, might now be given opportunities for redemption. The reforms at Azkaban symbolizes a larger change within the ministry itself, which sought to move away from the unjust practices of the past and foster a more humane, fair system of justice. While the prison still served as a high security facility for dangerous individuals, the end of the Dementor regime marked a significant step towards a more just and rehabilitative approach to incarceration in the post war era. As we've seen, Azkaban is not just a prison, it's a manifestation of the darkest aspects of the wizarding world. From its origin as a fortress for the most dangerous criminals to its eerie transformation under the control of the Dementors, it remains a place of intense fear and sorrow. The events surrounding Azkaban throughout the Harry Potter series serves as a stark reminder of the thin line between justice and cruelty and the lasting impact of a corrupt system. While Azkaban may no longer be the forefront of the wizarding world's struggles, its legacy continues to haunt both those who have been imprisoned there and those who fought to bring justice to the magical world. Thank you for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe.